My name's Richard Beardsley. I was active. I liked hiking and going to Valley Forge Park or Appalachian Trail, and hiking, climbing trees was a big thing and when I was really young. I struggled through the years. I didn't have instant success, and but I think getting out in nature was kind of my salvation, and just the peace that I have walking through the woods or climbing or things like that. I mean, I've always been an independent person, seeking my own way in life and not worrying too much about convention and not trying to keep up with the Joneses. I decided on Labor Day weekend to cut this tree down out in the yard, and I called a friend and asked if he'd help me, and he wasn't experienced. I wasn't experienced in tree cutting, and I was nervous about cutting a tree down. We set up a 30-foot ladder onto a branch in the tree, and he actually brought a harness with him, and I had it on. The first time I went up, I tied myself in, but the way we had the rope seemed dangerous to me, so the second time I went up the ladder, I didn't hook in. I thought, well, it's better not to be hooked in. I cut halfway through, and as I began to go down the ladder, or get ready to go down the ladder, the branch broke and kind of pushed the ladder backwards. It's hard to remember exactly what happened, but I know I fell straight backwards and found myself on the ground, on my back. And I think there was some roots sticking up, like tree roots, and they had smashed my vertebra. So I could move my arms, but I couldn't, I knew I was paralyzed. I knew it was serious, and so the question is, I want to stay alive. And when you fall 25 feet and you hit so hard, it's hard to breathe. So I was focusing on breathing, and there's the realization that you might not live. And I was kind of reaching out to God and saying, please help me. So it's like a whole new experience to be in this world of, number one, you're on medication and you're dependent on everyone else. When my brother came in, he was the first one to come in to the ICU, and the emotion really came up when he came in, just the recognition that I'd be, paralyzed. You're given time to internalize it, and all your needs are being met in a hospital or a rehab. So it's actually a good time of transition where you don't have to be at home, and everyone around me was also in a similar boat. So we were kind of in a protected environment. I went through a process of realizing or thinking about the things I wouldn't be able to do. A big challenge is, well, where am I going to live? I bought this house out in the country. I can't go out there. And so where am I going to live, where I can be taken care of? There's not knowing how much I can do and how much I can't do. And there's a fear of going back out into the world and, how am I going to survive? I'm used to being so independent and not relying on anyone. So there's this process of learning how to ask for your needs to be met, how to ask for things, ask people to help you. And that's really tough. That's a big part of the adjustment. Well, there's a part of my spirit that wants to show that I'm able to meet challenges, and that I'm strong, that I have strength, and power in my life, and that you know, what I do with my life is a personal choice. And I still have that choice. I actually can make the choice to live in this house, even though other people are saying no. Then the challenge was to make it easier to live here. The first thing was getting into the house, so that was a big challenge just to get in, because we're on a real hilly property here. Using the bathroom is a big thing. So we had to tear a wall out so I could fit in. Also, I couldn't get under the kitchen sink to use it. My knees would bump into the cabinet. So I got a saw out and cut out the bottom part, and then I could fit under the sink. It was going to take money. My family could give me some money, but you know, I'm independent and I don't want to rely on my family. So I wanted to use any money that's available out there to help people. During this process of trying to find ways to fix the house up so that I could live here, I picked up a brochure that PATF puts out, and it was at the rehab where I had been, and so I called them and asked them about loans, and you know, they offer low interest loans so that you can do work to your house or get accommodations to help you to do things. They came up with a loan for me to pay for the cabinets and the countertop and the sink. And there's special cabinets that are lower, and the sink is a little shallower so I can fit under it. They're all drawers that pull all the way out, so it's easier for me to access things. So the drawers come out and you can grab things more easily. PATF is a solid organization. You know, I felt that from the beginning. They try to make it as simple and clear as possible. You know, they have a sole focus, a sole reason for being is to help people with disabilities, and that's their aim, and they make it possible to do things. There aren't that many organizations out there like that. PATF has been integral in my life because they made it possible for me to make my house accessible, to make my kitchen a pleasure to use. It's easy to use. They provided the funding for what I needed. They're not just a company that comes up with loans. They actually are a group that provide information so that you can look out there and find out how you can get things done. They're kind people, and they know that they're helping people with disabilities. To join a group that is working just with people with disabilities, you know, there's something reassuring about that.
So yeah, this was where I fell about 5 years ago. But I was laying here and I was trying to get myself up after falling like 25 feet off a ladder. And I reached down and felt my legs, and they were like jelly, no muscle tone. And I knew it was serious. So it was a big change in my life. It was like my old life was dead, and then a new life began.
Needing to rely on other people is a good thing for me, because I get to actually have more relationships, and then I get to see how maybe I can help other people. I'm living a good life, and I'm taking care of myself. And so the renovations, after they were finished, I could kind of feel a sense of relief that now I'm able to live here and comfortably. And if my family visits, you know, they can see that I'm doing quite well.